Hello everyone, this is Square Triangle Mouse, and today I'm talking to you about Wonders in Civilization 6. This is a strategy guide and it's focused on high difficulties single player, so this is not applicable to multiplayer, keep that in mind. And I'm going to talk to you about which wonders the AI focuses on. So if you're playing Deity or Immortal, this is very important information. But obviously a lot of what I'm talking about in that aspect won't be applicable to low difficulties. The value of the wonder will be applicable, but not how fast the AI builds it. So keep that in mind if you play on, I don't know, Prince or King. You probably have more wonders accessible to you. So let's go in alphabetical order as the Civilopedia puts them, just for convenience. So we start for the Alambre. So we have one military policy slot with the Alambre. Any wonder that gives you an extra slot is good. Obviously you want your government to have as many slots as possible. That's always good to have. But among all of them, I think we can pretty much all agree that when you're on single player, the military policies are actually the weakest ones of them all, even weaker than the diplomatic ones. So among the wonders that give you one extra slot, the Alambre is the weakest of them all, in my opinion, because the AI is really bad at war, so usually you don't need a lot of military slots. And even if you're going for domination, you probably need more economic slots. The economic slots can give you pretty much anything you need. So this is not so good among the ones that give you slots, but it still gives you a slot. So you know, it's still a decent wonder, still a good one to have. And oh, you get some extra amenities, which is also nice. It's only for one city, but still nice. Great general points per turn, not so good in my opinion. You usually don't need great generals to win a domination game, so I don't value that so much, and it's going to come a little bit late for this to be really valuable anyway. Let's go with the next one, Big Ben. So Big Ben gives you an economic policy slot. Now that's very different. Economic policies are much better than military policies. So I think Big Ben is probably, well, almost definitely in the top 5 of wonders in this game. It's one of the best ones, really good. Another thing about the Alambre is that the AI goes for it quite a lot, but the AI doesn't always go for the Big Ben, because Big Ben, you need to have a river slot empty adjacent to a commercial hub with a bank. The AI doesn't build so many commercial hubs, and if they do, they might also already be working all of the slots of the river tiles, so they tend to not build wonders on top of tiles that they are already working, and so that's the reason why they don't always go for Big Ben. Sometimes they do go for it though. So if you really want it, try to beeline economics, because it's not, especially on Deity, it's not so easy to get this wonder. So don't rely so much on the AI not building so many commercial hubs. Eventually they're going to get a few of them, especially Congo. But even other AIs, they will get a few of them sooner or later, and they will get this wonder. They do go for it when they can. So don't sleep on it, okay? Also, it doubles your gold, doubles current treasury. So if you are building it and you see you have good chances, you beeline economics, and you are, let's say, 10 turns away from building the Big Ben, try to keep your money, try to save it, because you want this effect to be as big as possible, obviously. Try to plan ahead as well, leave a river tile adjacent to a commercial hub open for this. That shouldn't be so much of a hassle, but keep that in mind. Bolshoi Theater. 2 randomly chosen free civics when completed. Randomly chosen means that they might not be the ones you need, so that's a little bit of a pain. Must be built on flatland adjacent to Theater Square District. If you're going for a cultural victory, you should have Theater Square Districts. If you're not going for a cultural victory, you do not want the Bolshoi Theater. That's pretty obvious, I think. The AI doesn't go for it so much, so if you're going for a cultural victory, you probably can build it, because you're probably going to get opera and ballet early enough for it. And you get great writer points and great musician points, which is always nice. Work of music slot, this is pretty nice, because Broadcast towers come very late in the game. It's really hard to build them, so getting another work on music slot is always good. And yeah, not a bad wonder, not an excellent one either. If you were going for a cultural victory, you might want to build it, but it's not one of, even in that situation, it's not one of your main priorities. Okay, it's a decent wonder, but not a top one. Broadway, one free random atomic era civic boost, must be filled on flat land. This is just a boost, so not the whole civic. And then you have a lot of great writer points per turn, great musician points per turn. That's nice, but the problem here is that it comes a little bit late in the game for it to be really useful. That's the main problem with Broadway. It comes late. Yeah, you have some great works of music slots. So as I said before, that is good if you're going for a cultural victory, but it comes a little bit too late for my personal taste, so not a priority. If you are going for a cultural victory, you might be first to mass media, even on Didi, so you might be able to build it. But you know, don't go crazy for it, because at that point you should be close to winning the game anyway, even without it. Chichen Itza, +2 culture to all rainforest sites for this city, +1 production to all rainforest sites for this city, and must be built on rainforest. So if you have a city with a lot of rainforest, then this is a pretty cool wonder. You can get a production powerhouse and culture powerhouse with Chichen Itza surrounded by rainforest all over the place. However, the AI tends to go for it, especially if you have a rainforest CIV in the game, like Brazil. You know, they will probably go for it very early. Even if Brazil is not in the game, they will probably get it pretty early. So it's very hard to get on Didi, very hard. And if you don't get it, it's not such a big deal. You can just chop the rainforest for some nice production boost and food boost, which is nice to grow your population when the city is new. So, you know, it's not such a big deal if you lose it. The rainforest will still be useful for chopping. And yeah, you probably will lose it on Didi. Coliseum. So this is an interesting one. I would say it might be one of my top 2 wonders in the game, together with Forbidden City, which mentioned later, Forbidden City. But this is the other one that I think is extremely good. Coliseum's culture and amenities are extended to each city center, which in 6 tiles must be built on flat land adjacent to an entertainment complex district. Gives you +2 culture to every city within 6 tiles. That could be easily 4 cities, sometimes 5 if you're lucky. But let's say it's 4, which should be the case if you plan properly. That means +8 culture and +3 amenities on each one of those 4 cities. This is huge. +3 amenities on 4 cities at a time with just one wonder. That is pretty awesome. It needs to be adjacent to an entertainment complex, and the AI usually takes very long to build them, which means in a lot of Didi games you can actually build a Coliseum. So keep that in mind. If it goes very early. So if you're on turn, I don't know, 100, 120, and the Coliseum hasn't been built yet, you will be almost certain that you can build it, and you should build it because it's very good. And yeah, that's it. This is one of the best wonders in the game. So plan ahead, plan your first entertainment complex, which is probably going to be the one that has a Coliseum adjacent to it. Plan accordingly so it can affect at least 4 cities. Colossus. +1 trade route capacity, grants a trader unit and must be built on a coast adjacent to land and harbor districts. So +1 trade route is always good, obviously, especially now that harbors and commercial hubs no longer, they don't provide 2 trade routes, they provide just 1, even if you have both of those districts in the same city. So it's always nice to have another trade route, and it gives you a trader unit for free, which saves a few turns. Adjacent to a harbor, you will probably have harbors in your coastal cities. There are pretty good districts, so that shouldn't be an issue for you. And the AI doesn't tend to go for the Colossus very early, so you usually have time to build it even on Didi in a lot of games. Also plus 3 gold, okay, that's not too bad. You only need shipbuilding for it, so you can get it pretty early. But I realize that in the few cases in which the AI goes for it, it will go for it very, very early in the game, okay? So I usually wait a little bit because very early in the game this is still expensive. So I wait a little bit, and if I see that the AI hasn't built this on turn 100 or so, then I go for it when it's cheaper. Basically, when this 400 productions is not so much anymore. Okay, so I can get a cheap wonder. If you get it cheap, then yes, plus 1 trade route is pretty good. In the early game, 400 production is a lot, so building it early is not such a good idea. Cristo Redentor. So tourism output from relics and holy sites is not diminished by the civilization of representing and civic. Pretty useful when you're going for a cultural victory. But my favorite thing is here, doubles tourism output of seaside resorts across your civilization. This is pretty excellent if you're going for for cultural victories and you have a lot of coastal tiles to build seaside resorts. Must be built on hills, that shouldn't be an issue, there should be enough hills for it. Comes with mass media. If you're going for cultural victory, chances is you're beelining this stuff. Production cost is 1620, so if you compare this here, it's the same production as Broadway, but it's much more useful than Broadway for a cultural victory. So this is another reason why I don't build Broadway. It has the same production cost and same requirements as Cristo Redentor, but Cristo Redentor is much better. So I usually beeline mass media to get the Cristo Redentor, but I forget about Broadway because I don't want to get two wonders that are so expensive. It's enough to get one. You might want to maybe save a few forests if you can to build it. You probably won't be able to do it though, so you need a very good production city to get Cristo Redentor because it's very expensive, but it's worth it. Unlike Broadway, this one is really worth it. And this one is particularly good in combination with the next one, Eiffel Tower. Eiffel Tower gives you +2 appeal on every single tile. So if you have a lot of coastal tiles, this means a lot more seaside resorts that you would normally build. You can get a lot of seaside resorts if you have Eiffel Tower. So if you combine this with the fact that tourist output from seaside resorts across the civilization is double with Cristo Redentor, you can quickly see why the combination of these two is great. And this is actually my favorite combination in the whole game. Okay, I don't think there are two wonders in the whole game that synergize as good as these two wonders do. If you're going for a cultural victory, you should always beeline still to get Eiffel Tower on the technology path, and on the civic path always beeline mass media to get Cristo Redentor. So you get both of them. This one is also pretty expensive, so keep that in mind. You want to start building it as soon as possible. It must be adjacent to city center. This is interesting because it means the AI is less likely to build it, because they usually improve all the tiles around city centers and they don't like building wonders over tiles that they have already improved. That's something I have realized in my last few games when I check on this. So you have a higher chance of getting Eiffel Tower, but Cristo Redentor, on the contrary, they go for it quite a lot. So the moment you get mass media, start working on it immediately because you don't want to lose it. You want this combination. This combination is very strong. +2 appeal also gives you more freedom when it comes to national parks, so another good thing for cultural victories. If you are not going for cultural victories, ignore Eiffel Tower, ignore Cristo Redentor. Obviously these are specialized wonders, but for their speciality they are very good, especially when they are together. Stadio Maracana, I'm sorry, but this comes way too late. Professional sports comes very late in the game. So yeah, you get +2 amenities to each city in your civilization. Yeah, that's pretty nice. But at that point, you're probably already winning the game, so you don't need this. Not only you're already winning the game, you might have the Coliseum already, and you definitely will have some entertainment complexes with zoos already, and you can build, if you need more amenities, some normal stadiums which are much cheaper than this wonder. So in the end, it looks like it's going to be a long investment, and you won't have many more turns left because you should be about to win the game by the moment this wonder is available. So I find it kind of useless, actually. I think I've only built the Estadio de Maracana once, and it was just because I was playing with Brazil and I wanted the achievement, but that was about it. Forbidden City, this is the other one in my top 2, together with the Coliseum. I think those are the 2 best wonders in the game, plus 1 wildcard policy slot. So obviously wildcard policy slot can be anything you want. It's probably going to be an economic slot, obviously, so that's why Big Ben is also so good. But it might be something else. Maybe at some point you need something else that is not an economic policy, and you can get anything you want with Forbidden City, really. Must be below flat land adjacent to city center. Again, this means that the AI will probably almost certainly not go for it. I think that in the vast majority of my daily games, the AI doesn't go for Forbidden City, which is awesome because you can get it almost every time. Plus 5 culture is not bad either, and you only need printing for it. Printing doesn't come so late in the game, so and it's also not so expensive. So yeah, maybe the best wonder in the game. I don't know. The Coliseum is also pretty awesome, I have to say. I guess if you're going for domination victories, you need the amenities a bit more because of the war wariness, so the Coliseum is even better. But on other type of games, the Forbidden City is probably the best one. Great Library, this is, in my opinion, the worst wonder in the game. Receive boost to all ancient and classical era technologies. Problem is, you need recorded history to build this, and recorded history comes after the classical era, so, well, more or less around the classical era, which means you probably already have most of these boosts, and the ones left are not going to be so valuable because by the time this is finished, the ancient and classical era technologies you haven't researched yet, or you don't have even the boosts yet, they're probably going to be extremely cheap. So maybe, what will it save you? 1 turn of research, 2 maybe, if you're lucky. Yeah, this is a huge waste of 400 production. You don't want this wonder at all. The plus 1 at this point is not worth it, obviously. Plus 2 science, again, not worth it. Just get a regular library and then a university if you're going for scientific victories. Forget about this wonder. It's pure crap. And obviously great worth of writing slots. These are the cheapest slots if you're going for a cultural victory, because amphitheaters are very cheap. So yeah, nothing about this wonder is really worth it. It needs a huge boost. It needs to be boosted. It needs to give you, I don't know, something else. Maybe some boost to some medieval and Renaissance era technologies as well, or some free technologies in the. If this was, any ancient technology or classical era technology that you still have left to research is going to be free, then I would change my mind. But just a boost? Nah, not worth it. Great Lighthouse, plus 1 movement from naval units. So obviously, this is the kind of wonder that you want in an island map, and the kind of wonder that you don't want in any other map, basically. This is only really useful if you're playing an island map. Obviously, this is fairly easy to understand for everybody. Now, here's the funny thing. Again, adjacent to land and a harbor district with the Lighthouse, the AI doesn't build so many harbor districts, especially if you're not playing on an island map, which means if you're playing, let's say, continents map or something like that, the AI will probably not build a Great Lighthouse until it's very, very late. So if you're going for a cultural victory, maybe you want to build it when it's cheap, like not when 290 production is a lot for you, but much later in the game. It's probably still going to be available, and you may want to build it just for the extra tourism if you're going for a cultural victory, because at some point in the game this 290 production is going to be very cheap. You will be able to get the Great Lighthouse in less than 10 turns, and in that case, well, some extra tourism, for maybe, 8 turns of production, that's not so bad. Great Zimbabwe. So the AI pretty much never ever gets Great Zimbabwe. I don't think I have ever played a single game in which the AI got Great Zimbabwe. This is because it must be built adjacent to a commercial hub district with a market and adjacent to cattle. So that is very rare. This means also you are not going to be able to get it in every single game. But if you see that in your game you have cattle that is more or less close to a river in which you want to place your commercial hub, then plan ahead, put a note there, put the commercial hub in a way that you can get grazing byway adjacent to both the commercial hub and the cattle tile. Because if you do get it, and you will be able to do it because the AI never goes for it, not even on Didi, then your trade routes from this city will get +2 gold for every bonus resource in the city territory, and that is pretty good. Any city will have at least 3 or I don't know, 2 or 3 bonus resources. I guess that's acceptable. At least, let's say 3. If you get 3, that's +6 gold for every single trader from this city. So at that point, you just need to move all your traders so they can start on this city, and they can start getting a lot of money. If you have 4, if you have 5 bonus resources, then it's going to be awesome. This is +10 for every trade route. So Great Zimbabwe can give you a lot of gold, which is obviously very good. It is therefore a very good wonder, and the only problem is that it's difficult to get the requirements in terms of territory. But yeah, it's a very good wonder, and it's not so expensive. Also +5 gold, +2 great merchant points per turn. Not bad at all. So yeah, pretty nice, and especially it's nice because the AI will never go for it, so you never lose turns trying to get it. Hagia Sophia, on Didi you will almost always lose this one. The AI always gets Hagia Sophia. Flatland adjacent to Holy Site District. So we know that the AI prioritizes Holy Site Districts way too much, which means they always have enough room for Hagia Sophia. And they will almost always get to education before you do, unless you go for a scientific victory and maybe beeline education. But if you go for a scientific victory, you don't want Hagia Sophia, because it gives you missionaries apostles that spread religion 1 extra time. You only want this stuff if you're going for a religious victory. If you're going for a religious victory, you don't beeline education, so you don't get Hagia Sophia before the AI. And that's it. It is a very good wonder for religious victories, so if you can conquer it when you're going for a religious victory, do yourself a favor and conquer it and keep that city, because this is very good for religious victories. Very good. It's going to help you a lot. I always try to conquer it when I go for religious victories on Didi. But don't try to build it, because the AI will get there before you do. That's just how it is. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. Hanging Gardens, another wonder that the AI will always build before you have a chance, so you can forget about it. Anyway, increased growth by 15% in all cities is not such a good thing. You still need the food, so yeah, no. And you will still need the housing, and you will still need amenities to deal with your growth. So this is not so great. And also you lose a river tile, and river tiles are usually very good. So yeah, not a great wonder at all, a mediocre wonder to begin with, and you're not going to get it anyway, because the AI always gets it on Didi. Hermitage. What do we have here? I forgot about Hermitage. Yeah, great artist points and a lot of great works of art, because the Hermitage is a huge museum, so obviously you have a lot of great works of art. Not good. This is something, great artist points, great works of art. You're going to be getting a lot of this stuff through museums if you're going for a cultural victory. So you don't really need these extra slots, extra great artist points. You probably won't need any of these things to win a cultural victory. And it's very expensive as well, considering it comes a little bit soon, so you don't have so much production when you get natural history, which you are probably going to be beelining if you go for a cultural victory for the archaeologies and all of that stuff. So you're going to get natural history fairly early, and then this production cost is going to be a little bit expensive. All in all, I would not recommend building the Hermitage. If you have the extra production and you're going for a cultural victory, you have nothing better to build, and you have a river tile that's free, yeah, sure, why not? But overall, I never prioritize this. It's not one of my favorite wonders for cultural victories. The combination of Crystal Redentor and Eiffel Tower is much better than anything the Hermitage gives you. Huey Teocalli, sorry, Huey Teocalli. So Huey Teocalli is gives you +1 amenity from terrain for each lake tile within one tile of Huey Teocalli. Sorry. Also +1 food and +1 production for each lake tile in your empire. What is the problem with this? That you usually don't have a lot of lakes. The way the maps are created in Civilization 6, you usually don't get a lot of lakes. If you do have a large lake next to one of your cities, well, that's great. Give it a shot. Why not? This is not a bad wonder if you have a large tile, or even better if you have a large lake, or even better if you have 2 large lakes. But it's very rare that you get a lot of lake tiles in Civilization 6, so that's why it's rare that you can really use it. And another problem is that the AI will probably have at least 1 lake tile, and even if they have only 1 lake tile in their whole empire, which makes this almost useless, they are still going to build it, even if they only have 1 lake tile. So it's hard to get, and it's hard to get a map in which you really want it. So most of your games you're probably not going to be building Huey Teocalli. Now, if you do have lakes and you scouted the map and somehow you know that the AI doesn't have lakes, so you have a real chance at getting it, then yeah, this is good. This is pretty good. But it's just rare that you have the right conditions for it. Mahabodhi Temple is kind of crap. Grants 2 apostles. Well, first of all, Jason's the Holy side. Yeah, this is another wonder that the AI will almost always get before you have the slightest chance on deity. So you're probably not going to get it. And even if you had like a small chance to get it, it's not such a good thing to prioritize it. At this point, it's very early in the game. 400 production is significant at this point in the game. And all of that for what? To get 2 apostles? I mean, if you're going for a religious victory, you're going to be building a lot of holy sites. You're going to be generating a lot of faith points. You probably have, you might have the religious principle that gives you cheaper apostles, maybe, or anything that gives you extra faith to purchase more apostles. So you're going to have a lot of apostles anyway. You don't need the 2 free apostles from Mahabodhi Temple. So don't waste your time on it. Anyway, the AI will get it before you have a chance on deity. Mont Saint Michel, this is the same situation as before. It comes pretty early. It is expensive considering how quickly it comes. I mean, pretty early, obviously, if you're going for a religious victory, you're going to prioritize divine right. And the AI will probably build it before you have a chance as well. Must build on floodplains on March. Okay, well, this is not so difficult to get. All your apostles gain the martyr ability, in addition to a second ability. So the martyr ability, if you're going for a religious victory, the martyr ability is the worst one, because you don't want to lose religious battles. And if you're going for a touristic victory, you don't want relics anyway. There are better ways of generating tourism than relics. And you don't want to waste your time building apostles just to try to lose a battle to see if you can get a relic. It's like, come on. Too much investment for so little tourism. So the martyr ability is kind of crap in general. The only good thing about having Mont Saint Michel, if you manage to, let's say, conquer it from the AI, is that because you have this granted, that means the choices that the game will give you to get some different promotion are always going to be better than this. You will always have the option to get at least 1 promotion in addition that is actually useful instead of the martyr one. So that's the only reason to try to get it, if you can conquer it from the AI, I guess. But apart from that, this is kind of crappy. Oracle, you're never going to get the Oracle. The AI gets it very early, so yeah, forget about it. That's long story short. Patronage of great people cost 25% less faith. Districts in the city provide +2 great person of their type. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad if you can get more great people. If you have it in a city that has, I don't know, a campus and you want great scientists because you're going for a scientific victory, this is nice. If that city also has a commercial hub, then you're also going to get +2 great merchant points. That's also nice. So yeah, not a bad wonder all in all. But the problem is you're not going to get it. The AI will get it before you do. So what does it matter if it's good? If you can conquer it, that's fine. That's fine. If the AI was smart enough to build it in a city that has good districts, it's going to be useful. The bad thing is that the AI will probably build it in a city that has holy site. So obviously this is not going to help you with the holy site, because at that point all the religions will be gone. So it's not going to be optimized by the AI, and you have to conquer it because you're not going to be able to build it yourself. Oxford University plus 20% science in the city, and two randomly chosen free technologies when completed. That's pretty nice. Must be on grassland, etc., adjacent to campus distributed university, which makes perfect sense. If you're going for a scientific victory, you will have this. You will have a campus distributed university in a bunch of cities. And you can give it a shot because it's a very nice wonder. The AI can go for it sometimes, so it's not so easy to get, but chances is you are beeline in scientific theory at some point if you're going for a scientific victory. So you have a chance of getting Oxford University even on Diddy. And it's a nice wonder. It's a nice wonder. Obviously, if you're going for a scientific victory, otherwise you're probably not going to build it. Petra. You are almost never going to get Petra on Diddy. This is another wonder that the AI gets constantly. So you're probably not going to get it. If you can get it in a city that has a lot of desert hills, then that's awesome. You know, even if you have like 2 or 3 desert hills, that's already a very good city with Petra. Problem is, the AI will get it before you do. So I mean, even if you beeline mathematics, you have a very small chance at getting it because it's going to be expensive. It's going to take you a lot of turns so early in the game, and the AI will get there before you do. So you're almost never going to get it. And then you're going to conquer it, and you're going to see that the AI built it in a very suboptimal city with very few desert hills, and it's going to be very annoying. But unfortunately, that's what happens on Diddy with Petra. So yeah. Too bad, because this can be really nice if it's in a good city. Potala Palace plus 1 diplomacy policy slot. So obviously, as I said before, any wonder that gives you an extra slot is good. Diplomatic slots are not so good as economic slots, but they are still good. They are still useful. Better than military slots, in my opinion. So I would say, you know, hills adjacent to a mountain. The AI will probably have this. So if you get astronomy early because you went for it because you were going for scientific victories and so on, you might have a chance, but it's not easy. It's not easy. It's probably better to just conquer it. The AI tends to build Potala Palace. If you can build it though, if you got astronomy early, I don't know, you can give it a shot if you have a good production city that has this requirement, because the diplomatic slot is very nice to have. Pyramids grants a free builder, and all builders can build 1 extra improvement. This is very good. You can also build it on floodplains. You cannot build a lot of stuff on floodplains, so that's nice. But problem is, the AI will almost always get it before you do. If you see that it's turn 100 or 120 or something like that, and the AI has not built the pyramids for some reason, maybe they didn't have any desert, I don't know. Well, probably at that point it's going to be very cheap. So, you know, 220 production at that point is going to be very few turns, maybe, I don't know, 15 turns or less than 15, I don't know. It's going to be cheap. So you can give it a shot. I don't know, if you still lose it, you're going to lose maybe, I don't know, 5 turns, 7 turns of production. It's not such a tragedy. And if you get it, well, it's really nice. I know you can get it because I got it in an actual Diddy game. So I know it is possible, but it is very unlikely. Almost every time the AI will get it very soon. So don't count on it. As a general rule, you're probably better off just conquering it if you're lucky and one of your neighbors got it. Ruhr Valley, very nice wonder, plus 30% production in this city, plus 1 production for each mine and quarry in this city. So it's going to give you a super productive city. It has to be built along a river adjacent to an industrial zone district with a factory. So this is not such an easy requirement. I mean, at this point, comes with industrialization. So obviously after you get industrialization, you are going to get factories very soon. But you need a free river tile adjacent to an industrial zone. So you won't have a lot of choices for River Valley. You won't have a lot of tiles to pick. You probably want to plan this ahead if you want to build it. Leave that river tile next to the industrial zone empty until you have the chance of building River Valley. And then if you plan ahead accordingly, then yeah, you can try to build it. By the time you have industrialization, this base cost is going to be quite expensive. It's going to take you a bunch of turns. So if you want to plan it really, really well, try to keep maybe 1 or 2 forests to chop to get River Valley, because the AI does go for it. They don't always have the right requirements, so every now and then you're lucky and they take forever to get this requirement, and then you can build it even in the late game. But I would say at least in 50% of the games the AI goes for this wonder. So you need to plan ahead if you want to build it, and you need to do things right. Get it fast, get in a very good production city and so on. If you do get it, you can get a super productive city, which might be very nice for domination games and might be very nice for scientific games as well, to build space parts and so on. So yeah, it's a very nice wonder if you can get it, but you have to plan ahead to get it. Forget about Stonehenge. Forget about it. DI will get it on turn 21 on Didi, or maybe turn 25 if you're lucky. They will get it really, really early. Even if you're going for a religious victory, there are other ways of getting a religion. You can build holy sites early and, spam holy site prayers. And that is usually enough to get a religion. On this same channel, you can see I uploaded a religious victory on Didi, so you can see here how to get a religion without building Stonehenge, because it's almost impossible to get it. I mean, think about it. Turn 21. How are you going to get Stonehenge 180 production before turn 21? You need to start with a builder, which means you cannot start with a slinger, and that alone is almost suicide on Didi. And then you have to use that builder to chop Stonehenge and nothing else, and you're going to have only 1 warrior in the first few turns to deal with barbarians and early aggression. I mean, it's almost impossible. It's like suicide, basically. So don't go for it on high difficulties. Just forget about it. Sydney Opera House comes too late. Cultural Heritage comes late, and this is 1850 production. This is a very expensive wonder that comes late in the game. So by the time it's done, you're pretty much you probably already won the game. So that's just how it is, must be the cost of legends, land, harbor district, yeah, whatever. That's not a huge requirement. Plus 8 culture, great musician points per 5 great musician points per turn, 3 great works of music slot. Yeah, sure, plus 5, it's nice, but it's going to come so late that this is not going to make any difference whatsoever. So yeah, pretty useless. This is pretty useless, as it usually happens with late game wonders. They are not so good. Terracotta Army, or current units getting promotional level, archaeologists from the owner made for open borders, and adjacent to an encampment. So I don't usually build encampments. This is the thing. Even if I go for domination games, I don't build encampments against the AI. The AI is very bad at war, so you don't usually need encampments. If you want the extra production, industrial zones are better. If you want the extra housing, harbors are better. So yeah, and you probably don't want a mix of both because it's better to specialize cities. So encampments are usually bad districts on Didi. So this is the first thing that gives you a problem with this. Then construction comes pretty early in the game, so the AI will probably be ahead of you at that point, and they will probably get this 400 production much faster than you can do it. And they always do build encampments, many of them actually. So even if you want to get it, you probably won't be able to get it because the AI will get it before you do, which is a shame because the extra promotion level, if you can get that in the middle of a war, that's pretty nice because it means you can heal all of your units all of the sudden on the same turn, which can be pretty useful if you happen to get it in the middle of a war. But it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to get it, so I could say forget about it, really. Finally, Venetian Arsenal. The AI pretty much never goes for Venetian Arsenal. Again, this is equivalent to Great Zimbabwe. I have never seen a game in which the AI built Great Zimbabwe, and I have never seen a game in which the AI built Venetian Arsenal. So for that reason only, you can try to build it, because you know it's guaranteed. You are going to get it. You are not going to lose turns building Venetian Arsenal. Receive a second naval unit each time you train a naval unit. Obviously, if you're playing islands map, this is pretty good. And even on continents map, if you're trying to invade someone who has a lot of coastal cities, this could be very nice. Or maybe on fractal maps, or some weird map in which you are trying to invade someone with a lot of coastal cities. Second naval unit for free, that's nice. That's just the way it is. If you are not building any military units at that point in the game, this is mass production, yeah, so it's not so early. And you are not in an island map, then it's not going to be so useful. But I tend to build it anyway. You get 2 great engineering points per turn, which is nice. Great engineers are usually useful, especially if you're going for a scientific victory. And if you're going for a cultural victory, it's going to give you a little bit more tourism. So that's also nice. And simply because the AI never builds it, I tend to get it. Yeah, that's it. It's, as I said, if you are not on an island map, this is not so great. If you are on an island map, this is awesome. So on island maps, always get it, obviously. But the main thing is that the AI never gets it. So why not? Because coastal that is adjacent to an industrial zone. So industrial zones are usually not not right next to the sea. So this means if you are playing an island map, you probably want to plan this ahead. Try to make sure that you have one industrial zone next to the sea so you can build it. And yeah, that's it. That's it for now. So projects, that could be a different video, but this is my wonder guide for single player Civilization 6 high difficulties, especially Didi, but I think most of what I said will work on Immortal as well. If you want a strategy guide about a specific aspect of the game, say it on the comments and I will try to do it. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to hit the like button and that stuff. This is a new channel, and that really helps a lot. Thank you.